Hey everybody. So I hope everyone's having a great weekend. What we're going to do today, I'm getting a lot of questions about crypto. And so we're going to have a very brief video on crypto, specifically Doge or Doge, however you wish to pronounce it, Ethereum, hopefully I pronounced that one correctly, and Bitcoin. And all I'm going to be doing today is showing you key levels that you need to watch. Okay, I'm not going to really make overt price predictions. I have opinions on them, obviously, but I really just want you to understand the analysis that you could use on these three to determine what you're going to do so that you have more of a game plan. As always, subscribe to this channel, click the notifications, because what we go over is extremely timely here. So we're just going to start very simply. Let's just start here because this is the easiest one out of all of them to kind of go through and get an understanding of what's going on here. So first and foremost, let's get rid of the RSI for now. Two indicators we're going to use today for those for prediction is the RSI, and we're also going to overlay Fibs. But I just want to go through this really quickly so we can understand what's transpired here. So to start with, I got rid of all the lines so we can just start over, okay? And the video will be quick to the point. So this was your upper trend line, and you broke that upper trend line, right? And once you broke that, you can see how we acted. We came right down. Now, what you'll notice is there's a pattern here. And we're just going to point this pattern out because it's prevalent in all three. This is obviously your Ethereum. Ethereum, I apologize. So I'll get it. So you could see how you're changing here, right? And how this is coming in, right, and forming an H. Now, there's something that's happening here. Usually these H's are extremely negative, and they are, because they usually will mean that you're going to go down and retest this. Now, where a failed H pattern can bounce is when it doesn't break below the level, right? See how this would be the next level? See how we're not breaking below it? Okay, so that's something that you would want to watch, because what this is telling you is that this level is being respected. This bar and this bar can't even get next to it. Now, this is just simple daily on Ethereum. There we go. I knew I'd get it. So you can see how this bar, now we still have 5 hours left to go in the day before this bar is over and completed. But right now, this bar, the body, is encapsulating this body. Okay, and it's doing it right on the trend line. So this has the potential to rally from here based upon this. Now, if you overlay, and where you would look for that to reject is going to be just the break of this. Okay, this one to me looks the strongest of the three, and I'll get into why. But what you're seeing here is you're seeing the potential to go back to this level. Now, what happens when we get up there? Again, you are right on a resistance level that you're going to run into. So you're going to have to, be cautious, use money management principles, and decide where you want to be. The point I'm getting with this one is that you are right there. You're right on the crux. And if you took out a lower low, that's essentially your stop. Now, with these lines understood and understanding that we've broken the long-term trend does not mean that this can't bounce up, retest, come back down, and that it becomes a trading vehicle while we wait for it to begin its ascent again, or descent, whatever it decides. But let's just take a look at this on the weekly so you can understand what really transpired here. Okay, so by looking at this on the weekly, you should be able to pick up exactly. We broke out, it just was completely overextended, and then you broke down into the channel. And for those that aren't aware, just keep this in mind for future. See this channel right here? And I drew this channel line pretty thick. So you have a channel drawn here on Ethereum. And you see how we just touch it right here on the next week? See how we open above it and then you close below it? Usually when this happens and you have a huge channel, whatever that channel is, if it's on the weekly, daily, or monthly, you will go back and revert to a mean if you break out of this channel and you don't go parabolic, which this kind of did, but not really. It fell back a week later. Once you broke back into this channel, that was it. And you can see that, right? And you can actually see that this is an evening star pattern up here. So, but what's more important about that is it reverts to the 20-day or 21-day. or 21 week or 21 month when it does something like this. And that's exactly what this did, was revert there. So it's telling us that maybe we have stopped and maybe the pain of what's going on with Ethereum is over. So just watch this one. Now let's just overlay a couple quick things with it so that we can get a better understanding of what's going on. And, you know, before I do that, let's do this. Let's get rid of all annotations on this. That way we have a clean slate. So you can see where I'm going with this. Now, when you look for what's transpiring here, I'm just going to show Fib levels. And the reason I'm showing Fib levels is because this trades, it is a different asset class, but it trades like a commodity. I mean, there's really no other way to say that. It trades on technicals. So these are your ranges, and you can see where we stopped up here. You can see where we broke this one, right? See it where we are, and then how we broke this one, and now how you're banging your head against this one and you're fighting. Look how this level, right? Look at how that just fits perfectly on where we broke out, where we touched today, and where you are. So really, if you want to look at a level, the level that you're really trying to understand at this point is this 2577 level. If you get through that, and it's very interesting, that is the top of this bar, right? It puts you in really good position. So just consider using this as another tool to understand what's going on, because Fib levels, when it comes to futures, they do really give a solid understanding of what's going on as far as where the key levels are, way more than with stocks. They just work better. And now finally, we're going to throw in RSI on this one and just take a look at what's going on with RSI and seeing if RSI is telling us anything. Well, the only thing that RSI has really told us is that we have a negative divergence here, right? And that negative divergence is the stock didn't hit a new low, right? But the RSI did. So that's not really a ringing endorsement or something that you want to see. But now you have from here to here, but you are beginning a trend here, right? Where you are seeing this follow through a little bit. And it is continuing to follow it. So what I would state here is why this is not stating anything. It's also not telling us, it's already violated this one, right? By going up, it's already cleared this up. So right now you still have this trend, and this trend is respecting here. So we just want to see what happens next for this one in regards to the RSI. But it's not something where, you know, it's giving us a glaring indication of something that we have to be, we have to be aware of. I would just sit there and focus more on the key levels that we just went over on this one. RSI is not really adding much value to this. So let's just keep on going, because I want to make this short and sweet. So the next one we'll do is Doge, because it's just simple. Okay. So here you are, right? And I have these levels drawn from earlier, and let's just get rid of them so you can take a better look, okay? We're going to remove all these levels, all right? And you can see the peak here, right? And then you break down, and now you're forming a flag. This is really more of a flag than the H pattern we just saw. And there's a level here that's just being respected over and over and over again. And you should be able to see this. And this cross showing here means that we probably have not seen the low yet, but that means that we could still rally up to here. But what you need to see is you need to see a break of this trend line. Since this began, we have not seen a break of that trend line, and you have another one right up here, right? See how that fits? So like if you break out of this, and let's just get into this. If you break out of this, then you're going to be in a position where you're going to get a lot of buyers, because people are going to look for the top of this wedge, which would be a target, and this would be a target too. So if you break through this, you will see people step in. Most likely, if it rejects here, you're just going to see selling. But this is setting up to do something significant. It's not setting up to just sit here and trade. This is going to move volatily one way or another. Nobody knows yet. It has not confirmed out, and it has not broken down. Right now, it's trying to break out, but we'll see what happens. So overlaying this, if you just take a look at this on the weekly, okay, the weekly is not going to really give you much, obviously, because it's just moved so far so fast. But this is a key level. The 32-cent level is one you really have to watch. And then, of course, you can see what happened right here, where, and let me just close this up so we can focus on it, 38 cents, where you can see how we closed here, opened here, bounced off of here, failed, and now we're failing again. So just watch that level. That's probably going to be indicative of this level actually, right? So you're going to have to see it break through this to get to here. And so just keep that in mind. And then finally, what we're going to do is just overlay this with RSI. And then we'll do fibs. Okay, so is this really telling us anything? Not overly. The one thing that I would say is that you can see how we're flatlining here. And as what I can state is that what people really don't look at with RSI, and I go over in that one video that we did on RSI, and I plan on doing another one, is they do have support and resistance levels. Yes, people wait for the 30, but that's completely the wrong way to use RSI. But you see how you keep hitting here over and over again? So that might mean that this is it, that this is about as exhausted as we're going to get. It doesn't mean it's going to break out here, but that's just one way of looking at it. So let's just overlay fibs and see if that tells us anything. So out of the two that we've done so far, I think it's pretty clear that Ethereum looks the best. Ethereum, I'll get it. Ethereum looks the best. So let's just overlay fibs real quick and see what's going on there. Okay. Now, when you draw your fib lines, what you want to do is I could come to here. Okay. I could go to the low. That doesn't do much for me, right? Because this is irrelevant. There's no material here. There's no volume here. You want the peaks and the troughs, right? That's how I draw them. And you usually get some color from that. And let's get rid of all this for a moment. So we can just focus on this. I'm going to get rid of the indicators too. So what you're seeing here is pretty key. Okay. You're seeing that this obviously is the top of it, but look at how this level tried to hold and then couldn't, and then you broke. And then look at this level right here at 53 cents, right? And then as soon as that flipped and couldn't get up, what did it become? It became resistance. And then you broke here. And then this level became 40 cents became resistance. And you can see what's happening here. This one is becoming resistance. So if we don't get over this, you're setting up for a retest of 19 cents according to these. And that kind of fits into account with what we were stating, with this and what we were stating with this. So just kind of keep that in mind. I really think that, out of the three, this one's going to have the hardest time regaining. And I think that these indicators are telling you that this has got to happen. You have to realize that a lot of that move where you're waiting for that cross to happen, for example, has already happened here, right? We're already much closer to it. You see how much closer you are to that cross than you are on this one? So just keep that in mind. It does make a difference. And I do think that this has way more overhead resistance setting up here. So just let's get rid of these. And overall, just watch this level and watch that key level of getting over this. Because if that does happen, it could trade up. But this is going to have a lot of issues in comparison to Ethereum. And then finally, let's do Bitcoin, so that you can have some key levels there to watch. So, what you're seeing here is pretty textbook stuff. You can kind of look at this, and we're going to throw the RSI in so you can understand that. But here's your left shoulder, here's your head, here's your right shoulder. I mean, this is very textbook what happened here. We were talking about this for weeks in the newsletter, that there was a negative divergence going on here, and we were pretty clear about it. But I'll show you that in a minute. But what you want to see is this. This is very interesting stuff. So you have a channel here, right, that you can see, right? See how you're holding right there? And you can see how you're trying to change right here. Look, we can just clone these really quickly, actually. You should always really try to clone them because it shows you exactly, the real trajectory of the channel. But you see this channel right here, this falling wedge channel? Falling wedge channels are actually bullish. Now, this one is trapped under the 200-day, and the 200 is about to cross the 21, which is not a ringing endorsement. They crossed up here before, and you can see that. So, out of the three of them, to me, this, frankly, this would rank 2, as far as which one looks the strongest. Ethereum looks the strongest out of all three, and probably will bounce back first. But there's something going on here. So you're holding this level. Let me draw that a little bit better because it's really important. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing this come here and then cross this other little line up and kind of encompass the entire body of this bar, right? So like, even if this is going to continue to go down, does not mean that it's not going to try to rally back up to the 40 or 41,000 level. So this could be setting up to push here to retest this 200 level and stay in this trend. Now, if you look here, and let's get rid of all these segment lines, and let's get rid of all these indicators for a moment, you'll be able to see this pretty clearly, right? And that's pretty much a clear indication of a level. And here's pretty much a clear indication of another level. So 34.5 to 45 is really where you're trapped right now. We can't close above it. We have yet to close above it since it broke down. So that's a key level that you're going to want to watch. And if you break this level, it also falls into breaking down that wedge line that we talked about, and it will start leading to a retest of this, which is 28,000. So keep that in mind. Now, if we overlay, let's get rid of all these, all of them, and then we overlay this with here. And all I'm looking at is this portion. I'm not looking at the whole portion, but you can see how it came all the way to here as well. And you can see your key levels, 56,000. As soon as we couldn't get above it, you can see how we tried to stop here at 50,000 and broke it, right? So there is value in looking at fibs in regards to cryptocurrency. It does give you levels where things need to either hold, or if they break, what you can do with that. And you could even see that here. When you broke 42.3, that was it. It was over, right? So by overlaying these out, you get an understanding of where they are. And you're using the peak and the trough. And they're telling the story of exactly what's happening here. And then obviously this is the low, and this is the one that you're trying to get above. That 42.3 is really what you're trying to get above. And the way the fibs work is relatively simple. The theory is that if it gets to this level, it will gravitate to this one. And I kind of agree with that here, because you can see that there's very little resistance in here, but it would have to get over there first. So our first hurdle really is 37.2 if you're looking for the fib levels. And finally, let's just get to remove this. As always, if you find this helpful, please click the like button. My goal here is to try to convince people that it takes a lot of work to actually be successful trading. And it happens that, out there today, that there's just a lot of talk that it's relatively simple. So the more likes that the video gets, actually, the more people it gets in front of. Now, this is very interesting. Okay. And why is this interesting? Because this is doing exactly what the other ones weren't doing. Remember how they had negative divergences? So right now you're seeing this. So you're seeing the same level of divergence here, where before we had the others breaking down. So this might be getting exhausted. And one of the key things that you could look at for that is look at this. Okay. You should be able to see this trend there, and you should be able to see how this is here. So you are setting up here a little bit on these. Look how this is wedged in there, right? Like, that's pretty important stuff. I need to do an advanced RSI, but that's pretty advanced. So like, this is telling you that if I break through this, this is probably going to push to that 41,000 level and retest this 200 day. So that's it in a nutshell. As always, subscribe to the channel, click the notifications, and please hit that like button. Hope you find this helpful. If you have questions, please comment below. Let me know what you'd like to see.